This episode is sponsored by State Farm. Choices are great. Like with your podcasts, you get to choose what you want to listen to. And State Farm believes insurance should work the same way. That's why the State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you get the coverage you want at an affordable price and a policy that helps cover what you value most. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com today to create your State Farm Personal Price Plan. Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
Scott for Scots here. Do you hear that? Bring the mic in close. That's not how the grass should sound. There's weeds everywhere in this lawn. It's time to take action with Scott's Turf Builder Triple Action. It gets 3 jobs done at once. Kills weeds, prevents crabgrass, and feeds your lawn so it keeps growing strong. Ah, much better.
Get a bag of Scott's Triple Action today. It's guaranteed, or your money back.
Feed your lawn. Feed it.
The Purple Mafia, with your host, Paladino Joey.
Well, we'll see. The doctors would disagree, but what do they know?
So let's just say that you'll pay me because it's in your interest to pay me.
Is it worth it? I mean, you've won. Do you want to wipe everybody out?
I don't feel I have to wipe everybody out, Tom. Just my enemies. That's all. My father taught me many things here. He taught me, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
These are wonderful things that we've achieved, and there's no limit to where we can go from here.
Welcome to the family here on Purple Mafia. It is time to talk Minnesota Vikings football once again. It is time to review a crappy Super Bowl. That's right. We got a pretty crappy Super Bowl to talk about here. And we have a coaching staff for the Minnesota Vikings now. We're going to have our typical 3-segment show. First segment's going to be pretty short. The feature presentation will be my conversation with Dylan Richardson about the Super Bowl in general. We will banter around a bit as well, like we always do, because that's just who we are. We love to do that, and we hope you love to have us do that as well. But first, here in the segment, the overall news of the Minnesota Vikings, which is the original reason most of you listen to the show, is to talk about the Minnesota Vikings. The coaching staff is official for Mike Zimmer and co. So obviously the head coach is Mike Zimmer. The 2 coordinators, or actually 3 coordinators, because special teams is a coordinator, all have been confirmed, and the assistants beyond are all in place. So it is time to talk about this very briefly. Norv Turner will absolutely be the offensive coordinator. It took about 17 years to get there, but here he is. Fantastic. A mediocre to below average head coach in the NFL, an elite offensive coordinator, and with rings with the Dallas Cowboys, we mentioned in the past. Obviously, he's been an overall stud coordinator in the NFL. He's just one of those guys who was meant to be a coordinator, not a head coach. Rock and roll. Very awesome to have him on the staff. George Edwards, a little bit less known, a former linebacker coach with the Miami Dolphins, actually quite a bit less known. Cross your fingers, hope for the best there. But obviously, you are covered with a man who is a much better defensive coordinator than Leslie Frazier ever was, and that's Mike Zimmer. And I am saying that with full faith when I say that. Full faith, full sincerity. Leslie Frazier, a good defensive coordinator. Mike Zimmer, a great defensive coordinator. All right, end of story there. George Edwards, again, cross your fingers, hope for the best. With a man who knows defense very well. Better than Leslie Frazier. Mike Zimmer in charge. I got to think he has picked a man that is capable of being a excellent defensive coordinator. But, again, all is yet to be determined. Mike Priefer. That's right, Mike Priefer, the debated Mike Priefer, will remain the special teams coordinator. A lot of people liked him as a head coaching candidate at one point in time, but obviously a certain story because of a certain ex-punter was kind of getting in the way of this man's career, possibly. That was obviously put on hold. I'm not sure if the Vikings ever would consider Mike Priefer as a head coaching candidate, or if they did at any point on it. I doubt that was ever really serious. Maybe they kind of sort of talked to him. But, well, Mike Priefer is going to be the special teams coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings. I talked about him extensively during the season because of obviously some of the lapses with the special teams during the course of the year. That Cleveland game made me sick, where they literally left a man who was a pretty good receiver or tight end open. Was a Jordan Cameron. Yeah, just maybe wide freaking open on what was an apparent fake field goal. Nobody called timeout. Nobody made any adjustments. That does partially, in fact, maybe in a great way, fall on the special teams coordinator. Overall, Mike Priefer's performance as a special teams coordinator has been more than adequate, more than above average. So, all the political and accusations aside, I'm not mad to have him as a special teams coordinator. As for the politics, I'm not going to get into any politics on this show, at least because when I did in the past, people didn't necessarily respond well to it. So we are going to just keep this to strictly football and maybe banter around into some other random stuff on occasion, because we can. Like the weather. Yeah, stay warm out there, guys. Okay, let's get to the list of assistants before I ramble on too much further. Rob Aki. I guess it's achy. Hopefully he's not too achy. He will be an assistant defensive line coach, and yes, we've come to that point that there's multiple positional coaches. So, yep, we go from there. This is alphabetical order. KFAN will source them because this is on their... Yeah, we do appreciate that. Jeff Davidson, offensive line coach, sticking around. He's had a nice run. So, yeah, a lot of the former guys are sticking around. Ryan Ficken, assistant to special teams. Jonathan Gannon, assistant defensive backs, quality control. Yeah, they better have some quality control with those defensive backs, huh? Okay, that was too easy. Jerry Gray, defensive backs coach. Jeff Howard, defensive assistant. All right, then. That must be kind of like Brad Childress' role in Kansas City. Apologize for mentioning that name. I used to just call him the former head coach because of his unpopularity. Andre Patterson, a quite familiar name, will be the defensive line coach. Yes. Yes, he is here to be the defensive line guy. Drew Petzing, coaching assistant. That might be more of a Brad Childress type name. Like you're kind of your Bobo. He's hanging around. Kevin Stefani, tight ends. George Stewart, returning to coach the wide receivers. Scott Turner, I know not from Turner and Hooch. It's just his name really is Scott Turner. Will be the quarterbacks coach. That is the son of the offensive coordinator, Norv Turner. All right, then. Hopefully we have a nice quarterbacks coach. We're going to need one for the future of this team. Kirby Wilson will be the running backs coach. And Adam Zimmer, the son of Mike Zimmer, will be the linebackers coach. Kind of cool there. Kind of cool. So there it is. That is your coaching staff. Obviously, Mike Zimmer is excited about getting things together. Rick Spielman and all, talking it over. It just kind of is what it is. I'm not against bringing Mike Priefer back. I think they should just let politics. I think they should just put politics aside. Everybody on both sides, just let it go. I mean, whatever. Let's just play football. Talk about football. No one died. No one's getting killed. Though, if Priefer said what he said, well, I don't know. Just don't say that. I mean, just don't. I suppose just it's not worth it. Obviously, it's one thing if you have political beliefs. It's another if you go overboard with maybe you were just pissed off at the guy. I don't know. Whatever. Let's just leave that alone. Political beliefs are perfectly fine to have, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. For both sides. Yes, for both sides. Because this is America. Yes. Whether you're right wing or left wing, your political beliefs are your right. So, yes. Rock and roll. So, there it is. There's your coaching staff. Again, hoping for the best. Just impatient to see what they can do. That's the whole thing. That's where I sound a little bit antsy right now. A little bit like, okay, where do I go from here in this conversation? Well, there's nowhere to go yet because there's no football to be played for the Minnesota Vikings. I'm a bit jealous of the Seattle Seahawks. Obviously, even slightly jealous of Denver, but not really. Much more jealous of the Seahawks, wishing that was us. Hopefully these guys can help that possibility exist and persist for this Minnesota Vikings franchise. Obviously, not everywhere Norv Turner goes, it's a great team and a great situation because, well, Norv Turner was the offensive coordinator of the Cleveland Browns last year. So I don't know how the hell he wound up there. Like, you'd think a man that's that big of a name, of a coordinator in this league, would go to the Cleveland Browns. You would think he would go to a much... I mean, unless there was, like, no job available, like, okay, I got to go somewhere and be an offensive coordinator. Jeez. I don't understand it. Obviously, Darrell Bevel's got his spot in Seattle, and he's going to be keeping it because he just is. Cleveland hired their coach. I know about as much about him as I knew about Tim Brewster when he when he first got hired by the Gophers. Apologize for that name there. I just had to say it because I don't know who the hell the Cleveland coach is other than... He's the Cleveland coach. Congratulations to you, Mr. Faceless Mask at this point. We'll see his face sooner or later. Well, I'm sure you could Google it in 3 seconds, but I'm not in a rush to do that. Good luck to the Browns. Hope it works out, actually, because that's another franchise I'd like to see at least come out of the dust. I wouldn't like to see another franchise beat the Vikings to a ring because Seattle is now on that list. At least there's still Arizona, Cleveland, Buffalo, and a few others left. There's not many left, though, anymore. Oh, the jealousy. So, with no further ado, I got to cut the ramble and get on to our conversation about one of the worst frickin' games I've ever seen in my life. Regardless of who anybody's cheering for, I had no real emotion in this game, honestly. Other than I don't really like the Seahawks all that much because they have screwed up the Vikings seasons many times in the past or have just beaten us to a bloody pulp many times in the past. Whatever. All right, here comes Dylan Richardson, folks. It's Joey and Dylan back on the airwaves once again, right after this.
Do you shop on Amazon? Did you know that you can support this podcast just by doing your normal shopping on Amazon? It's really easy to do. Just go to thesportstuff.com and click on one of the many Amazon pictures. Do your normal shopping, and Amazon sees that we referred you, and they give us a percentage. We'd like to thank you in advance for supporting thesportstuff.com, and please use our Amazon link. Now enjoy the rest of the show.
We are going round like Saturn.
Too busy to sit in front of a computer? Simply download Purple Mafia on iTunes for Apple devices. For Android, download the Double Twist app, and for Windows and BlackBerry phones, simply find us in the store. And now, back to Paladino Joey. And we are back here on Purple Mafia. That's right, as promised, Dylan Richardson has returned. Once again, we are reviewing the Super Bowl. Welcome back, Dylan.
Oh, thank you very much, Joey. It's good to be here. Hashtag Peyton Manning curse lives.
You are correct.
And yet again, he dips below the 500 mark in postseason play.
It's so perfect. It's like you just look at this funny stat right here with the touchdown to interception ratio in this single game. That's his Super Bowl record, 1 and 2. I had to. Yeah, it's a. I mean, we were ready to watch the two best teams in the NFL, 13-3. This is like the matchup. Like, okay, some people picked back in June. It's like, wow, best team in the AFC is probably going to be Seattle. Best team in the NFC is going to be Denver. And I know not everybody picked this, but it's like the epic battle that a lot of people were, all the magazines and this and that were picking. And, well, there's your epic battle.
Well, first off, that was the safe bet. And everyone that said, oh, I picked Seattle and Denver to be in the Super Bowl, well, most of those people picked from, I don't know, like week whatever, unlike us.
Yeah, yep. Yeah.
Well, my picks went down in the dirt, but anyways, I just wanted to address that.
And they could have, yeah, and that's the good part. Yeah, and that's the good part. We do our picks in late August every year. That's our tradition.
Right at the end of the preseason, call our shots, just like was it Babe Ruth that called a shot over the fence? Was that? Yeah, we call our shots.
Mm-hmm.
We call our shots here, and you know what? Did pretty good, Joey. I believe you got one in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I had Denver going and losing to San Francisco, so I was like basically deflected pass away from being correct because I got to think San Francisco would have won. Oh, unless the Peyton Manning curse didn't apply in that game, but oh my God, I would have been perfect. That's just crazy. I'm not used to that.
Yeah, huh? That's one heck of a shot call. I think last year you got it. You got it right though, didn't you? Well, at least half of it. And I picked the other half.
Yeah, I got the champion right. Yep. I sold that stock. It got to $80 a share. It's back to $8.33 right now. A lot of them on the message boards out there at Investors Hub are saying better buy into Baltimore. It's
Baltimore.
Yep, it's at a bargain basement price now.
It's like Bitcoin. Sell.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. I mean, I watched that stock rise for about 4 years. Flacco was a rookie getting to the AFC Championship game. A lot of people were like, oh, he's not the reason they made it. But, well, he's not the reason they didn't make it. So.
This game here, 43-8. It's almost like we could talk about almost any other Super Bowl and probably be more interesting than this game was. I mean, unless you're a Seattle fan, obviously. I was really hoping for a game, and we did not get one. Although I did get a couple of laughs early in the game. Number one was when the ref just straight-handed handed Broadway Joe the coin. He's just like, flip.
Oh, my God.
The ref had to grab it out of the air.
Does he have an alcohol problem? Oh, yes, it was funny.
I want to kiss you.
Yeah.
Hey, so also, I don't know if very many people caught this, but Joe looked to Russell Wilson. He said, "I always had a quick release."
Oh, brother. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. That's good, actually. Oh, yeah. I was just watching he didn't really do it. Yeah, he did it. He should know better than that. How many games has he watched? Jeez, no.
Well, the thing is that it's kind of the ref's fault too, because he almost turned his back. He handed the coin to him, and then turned and didn't immediately take control, so to speak. And Joe's like, "Okay, let's flip it." I'm flipping it.
Yeah, just quick release.
I want to get off the field with this fur coat. I look ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I seen him, I knew he was going to do it. As soon as I seen him, I'm like, oh, PETA's pissed. PETA's pissed right now. They're boycotting the Super Bowl now if they already didn't. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually surprised to not hear more flack, although it's probably fake fur anyways, but still. Yeah, but still.
Yep, they're getting the red paint ready again.
I was like, oh, what if someone does that to him when he's on the field? Oh, that would have been their big moment. Huh?
It would have been funny. Oh,
that actually would have been more exciting than the game after, I don't know, the second quarter.
This was just. I mean, if we came into this expecting a football game.
Oh, I did too.
We did, yeah. I mean, we really did.
The score was. I picked it to be 27-21.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, before it leaves my brain, which tend to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the second laugh that I got, I think you know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as that snap went over Peyton's head and out of the back of the end zone, I thought, "Here we go. This is the Peyton Manning that I know." And okay, well, it wasn't his fault. He had to go up there and say Omaha 15 times before he snaps the ball. Yeah, whatever. But it's just something. It's just something, right? It is just something about him that he just does not play well in the postseason. And once again, okay, did in 06. Get your Bears. Yeah, I hear you. You know, after being in the playoffs so much, and hey, fantastic regular seasons, but there's just something there has to be some kind of a Peyton Manning curse of some sort, because he's had fantastic teams And
Oh, God, yeah.
this is his best season yet from a statistical point. I mean, he broke the two major passing records, the touchdowns and the yards. So coming into this game, the safe pick and would be to pick the Denver Broncos, but there's an old timer somewhere that once said defense wins championships, and I think we saw that, and a little bit of luck.
I mean, a lot. Yeah, I mean, the luck, it's like the whole offense thing. It's just, you watch the way Peyton Manning played in this game, the way the Broncos offense played in this game, and you look at his seasonal numbers, and you just cannot even imagine that this man played this well in the regular season. I mean, with how poorly he was in this game. I mean, it was Christian Ponder. Obviously, okay, look at me doing it again. I did it, yep. We knew that word was coming, especially against Seattle with how he played. But
you said the P word?
Yep, I swore. I said CP. Oh my goodness! That first play though, yeah. I mean, you know what it was for me at that moment? It was game over. The first play of the game. It was game over. You just knew it because you know how the Super Bowl is. Somebody makes that kind of error at any point. At a crucial point, like the first step of the game, you could say is crucial in a sense of a momentum setter, a pace setter for the game. And that's how the pace is set. It was game over.
Peyton Manning is a great quarterback and all, but he's no Frank Reich.
Mm-hmm. No,
he's not going to bring it back from a 22-point deficit. Actually, Frank Reich did it from 30-something point deficit back in that game. Way back, if you can remember.
Yep. Ladies
and gentlemen, this is old folks Super Bowl talk, but this was playoffs. Frank Reich did it in playoffs, I believe, right?
Yep. Houston Sprockets. No, what am I talking about? Houston Oilers, which I still miss that logo.
Oh, me too.
35-3. 35-3 was the score. I'm like, well, Houston's going to win. And at the time, I didn't realize Warren Moon had never, ever won a playoff game. And talk about a Peyton Manning curse. There was a Warren Moon curse.
Yes, there was.
Yeah, only he could do that. Give up a 32-point lead. Oh, and then that obviously set the momentum to a Super Bowl run. I still remember that very well. That was I'm ashamed to say that was my rookie season because I'm old enough to I should have gone back to say 87-ish. But I mean, I did see that NFC title game a bit, Minnesota, Washington, but. Yeah, that was quite a memory. Frank Reich, what he did.
So, yeah, I don't even know where to begin as far as a breakdown other than this was just a total butt whooping.
Yeah, it's literally. Yep, go ahead. Sorry.
And a defensive player. I'm sure that you want to talk about this, and I'm going to bring it up right now. Is Percy Harvin actually did good? Oh, no. He had a couple of pretty good plays, man, and I think he was one big play away from possibly being the MVP of this game.
I literally went in saying, "Please God, no! Please God, please not Percy Harvin as MVP." I can't deal with that. It's literally didn't show up all year, and obviously all the history here. Obviously, on Purple Mafia, a lot of people have heard how I felt about him. Talented, but obviously inconsistent due to every reason in the book. Attitude, headaches.
Hold on for a second, Joe. I got a headache. I don't know if I can go on with the show. I have a headache.
That's Percy Harvin?
I'm pulling a Percy Harvin on you. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I would always repeat on the show. It sounded like I was repeating myself, but it was just Percy Harvin repeating himself. I mean, it was, okay, it's a migraine week. He's not playing. Oh, there's a kick return touchdown. There's another migraine. There's a kick return touchdown, And this is the kick return touchdown game. I was praying again, please, not Percy Harvin for MVP. And I even tweeted it at Purple Mafia show on Twitter. I tweeted it, and then it's this linebacker. Yes, I was like, good.
You said,
thank God.
So since he had a kick return, does that mean that he's going to have a migraine for the opening game of the season or preseason? I mean, you've dealt with this a few times, so yeah. How does that work, Joey?
Well,
how's it going to work?
It'll probably be an injured hip or an injured ankle or something like that, because that's how it really works with him.
Because Lord knows that he has to be compensated for doing something well for his millions.
Mm-hmm. That's usually what it is with him. It's, you come back with that injured hip, injured ankle, injured abdomen, injured ego. I don't know. That's just how he is. Hangnail. I mean, he's not the kind of guy. I mean, yeah, he's tough, but he doesn't. If he plays through pain, I don't know. I guess he does, but not very often. And it's like, yeah, as we say, there is no way to break down the game. It's just the storylines. That's about all there is to say. Obviously, a tone setter like a safety on the first snap of the game is going to make the entire Denver Broncos team, who all of them except for pretty much everybody except for Peyton Manning had not been there before. So obviously, they weren't going to come out with the same swagger. They're going to come out shaking, I got to think, and that's probably helped contribute to a lot more fumbles along the way. I mean, this had 41 donut all over it, which I think you know what game that is, maybe. Do you?
I remember. I can't remember who it was about. Who it was. Who was in it?
Minnesota, New York Giants, NFC title game 2000.
Oh, yes.
Kickoff 1, fumble, touchdown New York. Kickoff 2, fumble, touchdown New York. 14-0 with about 14 minutes left in the first quarter. And that was all she wrote.
The agony. The agony.
I mean, yeah, it's so hard to watch a game like this. I had zero emotion involved in this game, and I'm sorry, Mr. Paul Tuniverse Caniff, who has lived in Seattle for like 3 months and all of a sudden is like a 30-year veteran fan of the Seahawks.
Oh, yeah. Bandwagoner.
Uh-huh. And I mean, okay, I'm glad it's fun for him, but at the same time, I had no emotion in this game. I wanted San Francisco to be there, or New England, somebody like that, obviously, or obviously Minnesota. I would have cheered for Chicago, absolutely, if they were there. Cheered against Green Bay or Pittsburgh or Dallas, teams like that. But
yes.
Mm-hmm. There was just no vesting interest in this game. It was like Bills and Redskins. I can't watch that. But I did.
Oh yeah.
I'm a trooper because of Purple Mafia show.
And so Peyton wound up, tongue-tied.
Yeah, sure.
I'm pulling a Peyton Manning right now.
Oh,
anyway,
he fumbled the snap.
He almost got up to 300 yards in this game, but a lot of that yardage was in garbage time. So, I'm actually impressed that the NFL didn't give Peyton the MVP just because there's Manning in the Super Bowl. It means he needs to get an MVP. They'll do it on merit. They do it by last name.
Mm-hmm. That's the hot rumor, isn't it? It's, you know why he would get it? He broke.
Because Archie told the NFL that his son must receive.
That's one of the
MVP. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the reasons. Yeah, look at me, false start on me twice there, jumping into her. Yeah, sorry, but yep, I got a 5-yard penalty there. That's a new bit I should add here. But what was I leading towards? Delay of game. Let's see. It was he attempted the most passes in the history of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he had to.
Yep, he had to, exactly. I mean, you're not going to... Sorry, no, Sean, you're not that good anyway, and we're not... Yeah, sorry, no, Sean, you're just not that good, and obviously we're down by... the whole game was like... Let me just look at this score. It's just like a computer glitch or something. I mean, 43-8? Like, the whole game, 22-0, 15-0. Like, what is this? I don't know what it is. Like, some wacky Arena League, like, rules, I guess. I don't know. It was just the whole game was like, I don't want to watch this anymore. I just want to record Timberwolves Explosion or prepare for Purple Mafia or watch ID Channel. I don't know. It's just... But I watched it. Super Bowl commercials. Okay, I don't know. Dare I say this? There hasn't been this is my hardline opinion because that's just who I am, I guess. I don't think there's really been that many good Super Bowl commercials since like '92. That's just me.
There was a few good ones a few years ago, but
yeah,
it just seems like most of the ones now,
a
little too over the top for me. I mean, come on, Doritos. mean, I don't know. I think that there was a funnier one. I don't know if it aired during the Super Bowl or not. With that kid from The Big Bang Theory, and he's like driving up next to some hot girl, and like they have an exchange, and different things start happening according to the exchange. I thought that one was kind of funny. I don't know if that aired during the Super Bowl, but it is on YouTube.
It may have.
Yeah, that one was pretty good, but yeah, it was just meh,
It was like everything about it was, and part of it might be it's like back in the day there was more you could commercials were a certain quality, and then the Super Bowl it just had more going on. Nowadays we live in an HD era, so it almost seems like we're spoiled now that all this action, this 3-dimensional look to the commercials seems to be like everywhere now. So it's like nothing really stands out like it used to. I suppose that might be the one excuse I can come up with for not getting as excited.
I'm going to start a petition to bring back the Bud Bowl. At least that's close.
That was fun. I'm not going to lie, that was fun.
At least those are close games.
Yeah, they were close. It was more entertaining than this.
I remember some Super Bowls, like you would have more of a rooting interest in the Bud Bowl than the actual blowout that you're witnessing on your screen.
Like like the Denver game was at 23 years in the past against the San Francisco 49ers. We may have had a reenacting of it if, again, Mr. Sherman didn't do the bat down on old Crabtree, but but he did. So crap.
Womp womp. But yet,
Crabtree,
champ is still not a champ. Poor Bailey.
Yep.
Champ Bailey.
I almost forgot about him, which is really sad.
That he's still around?
Yeah. Isn't
Sounds
that
like
sad?
he's been playing forever.
Yeah, it really is. It makes me feel old because I still remember him as this hot draft pick that went to not the Broncos, went to Washington. That was the Clinton Portis trade, wasn't it? That brought Portis to Washington from Denver, right? And then Bailey to Denver.
I can't even keep track because he's yeah.
Yeah, he's like old news now, Clinton Portis, yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah, that's the running back curse. They don't last forever. Oh, boy. Praying for Adrian. Stay in that padded room and don't breathe. Okay, actually do breathe. Breathe a lot.
Someone get Adrian Peterson in the hyperbarometric chamber, please.
Yes, yep. Isn't that the one with like was it like 03 or something in it? I forget what they call that.
I don't know, but Michael Jackson used to use it. No, and I think I don't know if it's actually legal because there's a lot of Olympic type rules that what people will do is use that and then do blood transfer, and it has something to do with elevated oxygen in your blood, and they call it blood doping.
Yeah, I think Mario Lemieux used that in his old days with the Penguins. Yes. So
hell, when you're 59 years old and taking the ice so your business doesn't fold,
that's what it was.
You gotta do what you gotta do, right?
Yeah, that's what it was. That's when I first heard about it. All Lemieux was going in there. Yeah, Adrian, hop on in before you get too old now. I can't believe I'm saying this either. Oh, time is too quick.
It is.
Heck, Purple Mafia started this was the YouTube era, the pre-Purple Mafia. Paladino Live started with Adrian Peterson. Yeah, good old 07.
It's amazing how time flies. Like you say 07 and it doesn't really like hit it until you start doing the math and you're like, whoa.
Is it for real? Yeah, it's like, was that really 7 years ago?
7 years ago?
That's really weird.
Was that 7 years ago? I mean...
It was, Abe. It was.
Whoa!
That's what it's like. It's like Abraham Lincoln. No, that would be like the 80s.
The Purple Mafia address. 7 draft picks ago.
We drafted...
Our front office brought forth a new running back.
For the Vikings, by the Vikings. Oh, I wish. Yep. And this Samsung S4 I'm looking at right now, just the technology change in phones since then is quite odd.
No kidding. No kidding.
I mean, this iPod Touch Generation 2 wasn't even out yet. This really super old iPod that I'm staring at, it was from 2008. Tells you.
Like the phone that I currently have, the Nexus, is basically as fast as any laptop that came out in 2007.
Isn't that nuts? Yeah, yep. And
I think I actually have more power in this little handheld device than an entire, maybe even some desktops back then.
Oh yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, we got the quad core processors. Look at us, yeah. Yep.
Welcome to Purple Tech.
The Purple Tech Show. This is Paladino Joey and Dylan Richardson.
Because tech is more interesting than this last Super Bowl.
It was bad. This is like the old early 90s Super Bowls, late 80s Super Bowls that were the NFC destroyed the AFC.
These are the early John Elway years.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, there's no other way to say it. I mean, Washington killed them. San Francisco killed them. I don't think he went to a third one, did he? That he got killed. I think his third one was Green Bay, right?
No, because the third one he wasn't involved with. The
Ken Norton.
Yeah, the one previous to him being there, and then he goes out winning 2.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah, the '70s one, right, against Dallas, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they lost 3. Oh, wait a minute. They did lose 4, didn't they? Or no, were they like the Vikings? I can't remember now. I'm blanking. Look at me.
Well, I have to shoot you down there and say no because they won twice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They had lost. Maybe had lost.
You jerk.
Oh, yep. That's the whole theme too. Again, that I posted on the Facebook page. That's going to be in the third and final segment of this. Wonderful. I'd like to believe wonderful episode. Yes. That yet another team that, again, sucked for eons. It's their first Super Bowl ring before the Minnesota Vikings. Yet another one.
Yeah. You like to put your faith in people and say, okay, I can see where the front office is going, where the GM's going. They're going to put the right people in who they think is in the right place. But when you see like John Elway put together this Broncos team, it was, kind of hanging on by a thread.
Yeah. Yep.
And the Seattle Seahawks going from a playoff team that won 7 games, really for not so much this year, but the previous 2 seasons. I was like, these guys aren't for real. They're not for real. They'll fade out just like they normally did. And, boy, they had one heck of a season this year. And playing in one of the toughest divisions, maybe even in all of football right now, the NFC West is the new NFC East.
It really is. That is... it's like whoever wins that division right now, I think, is the favorite to win the championship. Without a doubt. I mean, if San Francisco were to win that division next year, obviously the home field makes a difference. I think 49ers win the Super Bowl if they win that division next year. And I think if Seattle wins it, it could be a little Dallas Cowboy mini dynasty going on. Insert horror music.
Because they're a pretty young team, but we'll see if the Super Bowl curse rears its ugly head. It's a lot of expectations to live up to.
Mm-hmm.
But they're solid, and if they can keep it together during the post or the real postseason, coming into the draft and all, really gonna see. And I guess the 49ers have quite a few draft picks coming up, so we'll see what happens there as well.
They do, yeah. It's going to get very interesting. Maybe they'll be the new Patriots or something. Who knows? It's a lot of things that are going to be answered in the coming year here. It's going to be a fun season going into next year. That's a nice way to look at things. It's just the time in between is the hard part, I suppose.
Yeah, that it is. It's always say it every year. It's so bittersweet. Like, here's the coolest game, which necessarily isn't the coolest game this year, but we have been quite lucky the last few years to have a good Super Bowl. But here we go. For what it seems to be an entire year, you have to go through almost the entire summer before good sports come back on. But you can bide your time right here and listen to the Timberwolves explosion. Also, there's a new basketball show, Joey. Tell the mafia, let them in on the little secret, and I think there's 2 episodes out now.
We managed to get our second episode out. This is literally a international show. Myself from Golden Valley, Minnesota, Vince Germano of the Courtside podcast fame has joined from Melbourne, Australia. I don't know if that's been done before, where obviously you have them as guests, but a actual permanent show with 2 people from a different country, it's pretty crazy.
That is.
It is a Lakers and Timberwolves show. So I still get to talk Wolves, but I give Vince a chance to have the green light to talk Los Angeles Lakers and a chance to reach to a new crowd, making the name of the show is the Showtime and Timberwolves Show. Yes. So, we can hear Marv Albert imitations and maybe even Marv Albert plays at times, too. Yes. Oh, and obviously there's Brave the Wild, the hockey show, and and I wish Mr. Dylan Richardson would return to NFL East to West, and of course this show as well. I wish.
It would be fun if I could get together like a rotating panel of. Because, Joey, I don't know how you do it and how you've done so many, but by yourself is just, it's difficult, man. It is so difficult not to have someone. That's why I really think that the Showtime and Timberwolves is going to be a really good show, because you can bounce things off of one another, kind of like how the crossover is,
It's an awesome show, yep. That's a New York Knicks and Brooklyn Nets show, by the way, out there for you. And they are Australians, just Rusty and the PMAC. And I do think this could be that show's got some potential to it, without a doubt. I hope it does bring on a nice new group of listeners at some point.
Oh, speaking of which, so since I've switched from iPhone to an Android handset, I feel, I did somewhat before, but firsthand, I feel your pain with trying to get podcasts. And maybe some of your people listen to this on the sports stuff just because of that. But I have an app recommendation. Unfortunately, it is a paid app. But it is fantastic. And if you have an Android device, I would seriously consider this one. And it's called Pocket Casts.
Pocket Cast, huh?
Pocket Cast, yeah. And the interface looks a lot like the iPhone setup with the album art and stuff like that, and showing that there's new things. But with this, there's more control than actually the iPhone app, because you can choose to automatically download whatever show you're subscribed to. But not only that, you can tell the device to only download that when you are connected to Wi-Fi, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that's really good, because this is a day and age when data does matter in a big way.
Definitely does, and it gets chewed up. I mean, because this show right here will probably be like in 30 to 40 megabyte range, somewhere in there.
Yep,
depending. Yeah, and some of them can be up to 80, even to 100 megabytes. We've had some 100 megabyte shows.
Some really big fat ones. Yeah, probably like season preview or. What was the one? Like, we had a recent one that was like, I think the recent show was huge because it was like 3 segments and the coach was hired. So that's what happens there sometimes. It's just too much at once.
Exactly. So this app is fantastic. And part of the selling point was one of my favorite podcasters that is not sports related is Leo Laporte. And he has the Twit network, and that is a really cool thing that he has built, and I really enjoy Twit and all the shows, all the techie shows that he does. But I saw that he plus one it through Google Plus.
Mm.
And I'm like, oh, well, Leo likes this. I'm going to give it a shot. And I think it was like $3.99, but I'll tell you, I just subscribe to what I listen to.
Yeah.
And I don't have to do anything after that. That's it. I
Yeah.
come home from work, my shows download. If I'm sleeping or whatever, it downloads. Well, and you can also, here's another cool thing in this app. You can also set it to only download when it's plugged into a charging source.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really cool little thing. So I just want to let people know if they were looking for something and wanted an endorsement for even something that's paid. Because for me, I was like, I don't even care if I got to pay for something. I don't want to sit here and type an RSS feed into this thing so I can get my show and then I have to babysit it. This thing is just set and forget. I mean, you just open it up to listen to the show, and it's got a cool widget that you can have right on your front. Anyways, enough shilling for Pocket Casts, but it's really a fantastic app. And if you are looking for an Android podcast app, that's one that I would recommend if you're not, shy about buying something for I don't know.
Yeah, it's $3.99. Yep.
I tried a few other ones, and they just weren't really cutting it for me, and I was like, you know what, I'm done fooling around. I want to try a whole bunch of them. And another one that I heard is good, and I think you have it, Joey, is Double Twist.
Yes. Yep. That's another one I recommend too. But yeah, I mean, it's like free to an extent, and then eventually, I guess you have to pay in order to subscribe, which is kind of.
That's kind of. That's kind of backhandedy. At least with like Pocket Casts and whatever, it's up front. Hey, you pay, it works.
Done. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like that. I kind of like things being up front. And there's a huge movement in the game world where, it's kind of like, well, if you buy these coins, you can do this faster. And it's like, hey, I already bought the game, okay?
Yeah,
so
really.
Imagine why you're handicapping the game before, and I paid for it.
Yeah, that is pretty lame.
That's happening more and more. So I'm always on the lookout for stuff like that. But anyways.
Yep, no, I definitely hear you there. And to one quick thing, too, because I knew there was a hidden Super Bowl in there, and it's like probably because it was another lopsided one for Denver. That was 86, because obviously 87, they lost to, the Broncos lost to Washington, but in 86 they lost to the New York Giants. Yes.
Yes! That was Mark Navarro days. Remember those Sports Illustrated covers?
Mm-hmm.
And also that was the Doug Williams Bowl.
Oh, yeah, the 87, yep.
Where he did the splits, laid the ball on the ground, and they called him down.
Mm-hmm.
No one touched him.
Anyway. Yep. Oh, yeah, they went through their beatings, but then Terrell Davis and co. got her done, and then they went through their beating again many years later. Yeah, they did it again. So yeah, as you get the idea out there, folks, yes, this was a game to forget. Unless you're a Seahawks fan, yes. I mean that would be the spoiled part, though. If you win a championship, it's much more emotional when it's like really close and oh my God, we did it. Like I can experience it with this hockey jersey I'm wearing right now because it's very cold here. I mean, stinking cold, so I'm wearing it to keep warm. It's a Gopher hockey jersey. They went back-to-back national championships back in the early 2000s. And the first one went to overtime, and the emotion was insane. The second one was 5-1, so the emotion was not the same. So it was fun. It's still great to win a championship, but to win a championship like basically the way Seattle won the San Francisco game, I mean, the emotion is just off the charts. If you win.
Be it a bad call or, a good call, whatever. But, at least it was something to be excited about.
Without a doubt. Mm-hmm.
All the way to the end.
Without a doubt. I mean, that feeling, it is something I miss very much. Obviously, 87 Twins, 91 Twins. Those are games that went to the wire, especially 91. The feeling, I mean, I miss it. And obviously I want to feel it for the Vikings because they would be stronger. Football is more emotional than baseball. I loved baseball back then, but obviously not only is it emotional to win a Super Bowl, I'm sure that I'd like to feel it, but obviously the fact of all the years it took to get there is what makes the emotion amplified, literally like 50 times more than maybe some other teams out there.
That, and you don't get a lot of shots. I mean, you have
Yes.
16 regular season games.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball, you lose it. Well, maybe we'll get them next time.
Yeah.
Oh, we're on a losing streak. We lost all this week. We lost 5 games in a row. You know, we'll get hot again. You know, baseball is a long sport, but here's the good thing about baseball is in the postseason, it's no joke, because if you're not in the postseason, then you weren't good enough to get there, because there's plenty of time to fix your problems during the regular season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is so much time. There's so many things. I mean, how many times did the Twins? They had a whole horrible month of April, and they still won the division. I still remember that. That was like one of their great seasons, I guess. 2006. I wish it was 96. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, 2006. One of those great years, and then obviously Liriano's elbow blew up, and that was it. But if it didn't, well, maybe, just maybe, they might have been celebrating a third World Series here. But anyways, to dream. Oh, Seattle! I mean, hey, that was their first major sport championship since the Seattle SuperSonics. Of course, they're not even there anymore, so that probably added even more emotion for the Seahawks, I'm sure. But, yeah, it's just a bummer to have such an anticlimactic finish. Doggone it! I mean, at least in their sense. Oh well, at least you won. Damn it! Take it and enjoy it.
Raise your trophy high.
Nothing like me. I'm all mean. Yeah, it's like a lot of people cheer for the NFC, and I understand why. But part of me, it's like, well, it depends, because there's a lot of teams that's just either I don't know, for whatever reason, I just develop a hatred for them for whatever reason.
Because they got to play your Vikings, a lot of them in the
that's what it is.
Season. That's exactly what it is, and it's hard to. It's hard. It's just hard. It's like if the 49ers made it to the Super Bowl, rooting for them. I just don't know. I don't know if I could do it, and definitely not for the Packers. I mean,
yeah, there's certain teams. It's just like there would be a sin to cheer for them. Green Bay is one. Dallas is one. But then again, there's always that one team that most of us may hate, and then some of us, they have a special place for them. You know, I guess for me, it's like the Joe Montana era, I suppose. But look at me, now you're going to kill me. Whereas Seattle, it's like, I don't know. I've just never liked them. They stunk a lot for so many years. But then they were always there's always a lot of pinned up history with me with certain NFC teams that they'd be terrible, but then we'd go there and get our ass handed to us, and there would be a huge screw up in our very small 16-game season. Yeah. So obviously there's a lot of pinned up hatred for that over the years. Washington Redskins are probably the all-time great in that category. Oh, I made my feelings known about
Atlanta
that.
Falcons, right?
And that one's a huge, huge thing. Yes, they love the Metrodome.
That and the Atlanta Falcons, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. That's what I was saying. I'm sorry. The Falcons. Yep. Love the Metrodome. Yep. That's what I was hinting at. I'm sorry.
Bastards, you Chris Chandler.
Chris Chandler. Even Matt Ryan with that crappy little season. Well, it was just a bump in the year for a year, though, where Vikings weren't going to win anyway. 2008. I still remember that one.
I don't know if you've noticed this, but next time you see Matt Ryan and you see the back of his jersey, doesn't it look like his font for his name is for a girls or a youth jersey? I've always weird. It's like small lettering, like it's a girl jersey or a youth jersey. I've noticed that the last time I watched him play, I was like, wait a second, is that dude wearing a girl's jersey? But anyways, now it'll be something that you look for. It'll be something that you look for.
Yeah, now we're all gonna be staring at it. Oh, maybe, but I wish there was more to say about this game. It's I keep thinking we're leaving something out, but not really.
It was a defensive game.
Yeah.
Seahawks kicked their ass. They came, they saw, they kicked their ass. Actually, they came there to kick some ass and chew bubblegum. They were all out of bubblegum, so they just focused in on the ass kick on Denver.
Mm-hmm. And good for Mr. I'll try to keep this brief, but good for Mr. Sherman that he was kind of nicer in the end. And obviously Peyton Manning's little thing where he checked on Sherman's health at the end of the game. That was cool. I mean, I appreciate hearing about that. Because obviously Sherman hurt his ankle.
Yeah.
Who knows? That's not something you want for a guy like in his position to have. So, good for Manning. Yep.
Those get re-injured quite frequently and a lot easier after a big injury to them. I speak from experience.
Mm-hmm. Me too, Mr. Righty down there. Yep, me too.
Oh, you got the right one? I got the right one too.
Uh-oh. You say the right one, I say the right one.
I got chop blocked in high school and my cleat stuck. But my body went over.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, it didn't break. So it stretched all the ligaments.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the weird part. Yeah, I had some stretching. Ugh. I went through some stretching exercises too. One time during paintball, which is pretty goofy. How sad is that? Just tripped on a branch because we were in the forest, and that was the first 5 seconds. It was a lot like the way the Super Bowl started.
It can happen anywhere. You never know.
It was literally ready, set, go, boom. Like, okay, well, I guess I'll just hobble on it and keep playing all day, but this sucks.
Yeah, the doctor pretty much said, well, too bad you didn't break it.
Isn't that goofy? Yeah, but it's true, though.
It would have healed faster and better.
Mm-hmm. That's sad.
So, occasionally, not so much anymore, but for a good long while, every once in a while, I would just be walking regularly, and then, whoop, all of a sudden, twist it over.
Yeah, it just keeps happening and happening. It's just like it's loose. Mm-hmm.
Yep, exactly. That's basically what the doctor had told me, is that you have a loose socket.
Yikes.
Not much you can do.
Isn't that... that's crazy.
It happens.
It does. I guess maybe one final teeny tiny thing as we head near the wraps of this segment anyway, and then it's on to the fan interaction with all the Viking news and stuff. Oh, goody, right? No, there's some good and some bad, I suppose. Mostly good, I guess. Russell Wilson, obviously, just an impressive young man. I have nothing bad to say about him whatsoever. He's not exactly this elite quarterback, but he's better than the old overused game manager term, isn't he? He is an accurate son of a gun. And what I like is just his personality reflects a person that has class, has respect, and he's somebody that I would love to be a teammate with if I was,
Oh, yeah. It's definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Class act. I don't really have anything bad to say about either one of these teams, and especially about either one of the quarterbacks. Because even though I like to give Peyton Manning hell, he is a good guy, and he does try his ass off.
Mm-hmm.
But I can never pick him in any playoffs because he will burn you. I don't know how many times as a Colt I'm like, well, this is a Colts year. Guess what? It wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? One and done. Oh, you're going against the crappiest wildcard team. The 8th seed actually won. You lose.
Yep.
In the first round, at home. A place where you didn't lose any games, or one game or whatever. So I have a thing. I do not pick Peyton Manning in the postseason.
Mm-hmm. And it's a good decision. At least it looked like a year that they'd get there, but then obviously not going to win. Yep.
It's worked 13 times, so.
Yep, it has. Obviously, I do remember a lot of those years where the Colts looked like Johnny Unitas and Baltimore Colts era out there, and they weren't. Obviously Peyton Manning had the turnovers against the Patriots, who were more clutch than him back then. Not anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Much to my chagrin, I suppose. Mm-mm. So, class acts, class. I like the way. A game like that, I could see quit over anybody for Denver. But Peyton Manning didn't quit. Obviously, that's a credit given to him. But he has a legacy to uphold, and he did in a sense.
There you
Maybe.
go.
Maybe. Yeah. I hope so, right? Or the
Hopefully.
Bears.
Well, you never know. Depends on what happens.
And yes, for those of you that might be new to the show, Dylan Richardson, yes, he is a Bears fan. And
The enemy lurks
Yep.
within.
And he is the executive producer and founder of thesportstuff.com, a very familiar website.
I do have to say, Purple Mafia listeners, it could be worse. It really, really, really could be worse. I mean, I could be a Packer fan.
Much worse. I mean, I Bears are my second favorite team in the division. So I mean, for me, I'm like immune to any, like, oh no, Bears fan, I hate the Lions and the Packers for some reason. Well, the Packers, obvious reason. The Lions, I just loathe. They're another one. They just bug me. I don't know. Maybe it's their fans. I don't know. They piss me off. It's like that we should kick their ass every time we play them. I just have this mentality. And then when we don't, I literally am TV upside down. Yeah, I am a nut. I am a nut when we play Detroit. YouTube evidence. Okay, I didn't say that. There is YouTube evidence about it, yes. I'll leave it at that. Any final thoughts for the Stupid Bowl?
I'm kind of interested to see what happens in the draft, what moves are going to be made in the off season, and of course, always looking forward to the beginning of an undefeated season.
Yeah, we will be clean slate, undefeated start.
Gotta love that, but unfortunately, the waiting is the hardest part. Right, Tom Petty? Yes, I think it is.
It is, sir. Yes, sir. And Tavares Jackson has a ring. Okay, I had to throw that in. Yes, he threw a pass and got a ring. It was not completed, and that's it. Once again,
Shocker.
another crappy Viking getting a ring. That another one. Yeah. Oh, goody.
Yeah, but he did it right in the pine, so.
Yep. Yep. As I wish Percy did, but I'm such a jerk, aren't I?
Someone's got to win, right?
Yeah. Yep. Good thing Cordero's not on the Seahawks, at least. Hopefully Cordero can have something nice to say. Ooh, nice segue into Viking talk. Yes. All right, so I guess that should put a wrap on this segment. What do you say?
I think so. I think we've talked enough about a 43-8 victory for Seattle Seahawks. Yeah, that's about it. And Joey, thanks for having me on. I enjoyed it as usual. I can't wait for our prediction show.
Oh, absolutely.
Anytime you want to have someone on to bounce stuff off of or whatever, I am here. We'll just figure out a time or whatever, and it's an open invitation anytime, Joey. I love being on your show. It's fantastic. You do a great job.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that, and I would like to exercise that. I would like to exercise that option and privilege to have you on more often. I mean, that would be fantastic in the off season and in the regular season.
Of course.
Yeah, we got to do it more often. Look at me.
There you go.
Because I know it. I mean, obviously we can work it out. Because look at us. We do work it out. So it's very doable. So thanks again. Really, really appreciate that. I will exercise that invitation. Yes. We shall return. Yep. So now it is time. Awkward pause.
I was like, "Where's the segue? Where do you?" I'm trying to read you, Joey. Where do we want to segue to?
Joey, that's an epic fail. Okay.
You're doing Vikings news next, right?
Yes, it is. It'll be the fan interaction. So now it'll be time to, hear your comments on the Facebook page and the Twitter accounts. The upcoming jingle will tell you how to get there, and obviously the phone number to thesportstuff.com as well. I'll always encourage call-ins. Just try to keep them to a minute. It would be appreciated in the future. So appreciate the long shout-outs in the past, but probably should keep them down, especially if the volume does come up. So thanks again, everybody. We'll be right back to hear from you. Contact us and support Purple Mafia by liking us on Facebook and following us on Twitter. Don't forget to call into our phone lines at 209-736-7877. That's 209-736-7877. And here we are, back on Purple Mafia. It is the fan interaction segment, Facebook, Twitter, Purple Mafia show. After both Facebook and Twitter, that's how you get to us. You got the call-in line. Time to go. Time to get rocking and rolling. No call-ins for this show, just mentioning. But also, the next show will be State of the Vikings 2014. That will be most likely featuring, well, myself and, well, yes, featuring me. No, featuring a a guest host with me. A name that's very, very, very familiar to those of you that do post on the Facebook page for Purple Mafia Show. Sebastian Balls will be on the next episode of Purple Mafia. Yes, applause. So, yeah, but it's very cool. He lives in Seattle now. Not a fan of the Seahawks, as his profile picture would have indicated going into that game and for a few days afterwards. Same with Brent Jacobson as well. Two of the Caller Hall of Fame members there. I wouldn't mind having Brent on sometime too. We just banter back and forth. But just saying, just letting you know, he's going to be on on that show. It'll be interesting. State of the Vikings. And also, I should mention this now as we head into the Facebook page. I will be posting a thread now where I will encourage you to keep the conversation in that thread, where we'll be talking about and this may be hard for some and easy for others, the 2013, it's obviously the Minnesota Vikings season wrap-up, the team MVP for 2013, biggest surprise in a positive way, we'll say. Some people kind of get that all over the place. And when I say biggest surprise, like, wow, he was better than I thought, that type of thing. And the biggest disappointment of the year. And very briefly, keep it brief, please, because there may be a lot of people saying why. And I do like to get to as many people as possible, if not everybody. So that's the way I like to be. I like to give you guys a chance to let your voice be heard. So it's time to let your voice be heard. Indeed. I was mentioning about how, oh my God, it's 48 degrees. And I, for some stinking reason, didn't even bring that up in the last segment because it's like, whatever. And I should have brought it up. What the hell was wrong with me? It was 48 degrees. I posted this on the Facebook page, which I am just humiliated about. I put it's 48 degrees. Denver's going to win. Trust me, this makes a lot of difference. Yeah, right. And Paul Caniff, that being Paul Tuniverse Caniff, who now lives in Seattle and suddenly is a biggest Seattle fan of all time. Okay, I'm sure he would. I wonder who he would cheer for if the Vikings and Seahawks were to match up in a big playoff game. I would hope he'd cheer for the Vikings, but I don't know. Please don't tell me you have more emotion in that team than this one after all these years. Please tell me, Paul, please. He says, an inside job? How dare you? So basically, he's just making fun of something Bill Clinton said a couple years ago when questioned about the the legitimacy of about 9/11. He said, inside job, how dare you? But basically, Paul is just trying to give me the old how dare you for picking Denver to win when I actually had picked Seattle on the previous episode of Purple Mafia. It was just a spur of the moment. Oh, Denver's going to win because of the temperature. Yeah, that was a stupid decision. And I was regretting it immediately after that first snap. And you notice how it did not take long for me to start saying that. And I mean, immediately I was starting to say I screwed up. Brett McCarthy saying, yep, not good. Things are not looking good. Malcolm out of California saying, don't worry, nobody saw this coming. And yeah, I mean, not that bad, right? Yeah, nobody saw that big of a joke coming. I then posted a thread saying this is getting as bad as Vikings-Giants 41 donut. 41-0 is the donut. And yes, it was. Matthew Kyle out of Maine saying true. Nathan Peterson saying, and it's the same stadium. Yeah, very good comment there. Yeah. So whoever, yes, and it was like they're both on the road. What the hell am I talking about? But whoever's less comfortable in that stadium, yeah, is pretty much going to die in a playoff game, and they did. Matt McCarthy saying Seattle's a bunch of ex-Vikings. Yep. Coaches and players. Yep. Darrell Bevel, of course, is the. Yep. You had Heath Farwell. You had you had Sidney Rice, who doesn't exist. Talk about urban legends. And Percy Harvin, another urban legend, until they played us and kicked our butts. And then he played briefly against the Saints, and then, got hurt again, and then he got to play in the Super Bowl. He played 3 full games this season. Okay, 2.5 games, or 1.5 game, whatever it was. 1 and 2 halves, so 2 games for Percy. Okay, continue. Mark Jackson saying, oh man, and there's Tarvaris Jackson for that brief moment. He continues saying, nice to see Marcus Allen. Yeah, that was pretty cool to see old Marcus Allen. It's been a while. Malcolm saying, I thought it was funny. I'm wearing my Harrison Smith jersey, and Malcolm Smith. Yeah, Malcolm Smith. I'm getting all mixed up. Sorry. Malcolm Smith won MVP, and yes, he did with that interception and overall great play. He says, so I was probably yelling and pointing at my jersey. Well, that's cool. Malcolm Smith. Harrison Smith. Yeah, that's why I got confused. It's like, wait a minute. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, that's cool, actually. And yeah, it's so fitting that a defensive player got it, even though Percy Harvin was so good and Russell Wilson was so accurate and was so solid. How could a defensive player not win the MVP in that game? Are you kidding? So, anyhow, Dave Hickey saying, that's of course out of Iowa, saying as big of a blowout as that game was, and the fact Seattle wasn't the underdog, makes me kind of wonder if the game could have been fixed. In this day and age where basically no morals anymore, and money has and will be the root of all evil, it makes a person wonder. Or you mean the love of money, I'm sure too, Dave. Yep, the love of money is the root of all evil. Yeah, I hear you there. Though, yeah, I mean, well, okay, I'll leave that up. He says, I hate to think that way, but as much as I love football and the Vikings, but in 1919, they had the Black Sox scandal. Yeah, I mean, all the way back then, too, man. Yeah, good point there, Black Sox scandal, and that's when there was morals and family values, and I really like what Dave's saying here. He says there was no tackling or blocking by the Broncos. Maybe some high roller like Warren Buffett gave 2 or 3 guys a few million, and they missed some tackles, drop a couple balls, and he bets $20 million and makes a buttload of money. Just a little food for thought. And what's funny, too, as you say that, Dave, there are rumors about Floyd Mayweather betting $10 million on the Denver Broncos, and I do think that story's true. I'm not 100% confirmed on that, and I do think it's true that he bet on the Broncos winning. So that's just wow. I mean, I do want to believe that it's not fixed, and that Denver just sucked big time. But as good as Denver was this year, it is kind of like, what the hell? How could they be that bad? And heck, I remember my mom even wondering, what the hell was this when the New York Giants, trounced all over the Vikings way back in 2000. Not that it was that long ago, but I guess number of years ago was a while ago. Interesting thought there. Interesting thought. Dave continuing saying, hey, Mark, do you realize we could have had Marcus Allen in his rookie year, but we chose Darren Nelson instead? Yeah, we might have won that 87 Super Bowl, Dave. I did talk about that with Dylan briefly earlier. He says, smart move, eh? Not. But other teams say the same about AP, and we got him. I just wonder, when is he going to lead the team to victory? But first thing is first, we need a quarterback and a lot better defense. Yeah. Yeah, that is a Gold Star candidate, Dave. You are in the Gold Star candidacy right there with that one. Very good stuff. I was briefly ranting about yet another NFL franchise has a Super Bowl championship before us. Who's sick of seeing this happen and wants our turn? Todd Vandermeer saying that. Todd is out of Indiana saying Peyton Manning is who we thought he was. Yep, a playoff choke, right? Stephen A. Smith saying, when is the draft again? Malcolm saying, very true, but I always root for the team that doesn't have a ring over a team that does. But yeah, we need to find our quarterback. Yeah. Brent Jacobson says, what makes matters worse? The Seahawks stopped at Minneapolis. Seahawks, oh yeah, they stopped at Minneapolis St. Paul International Airport on their way to Seattle. Yeah, that does make matters worse, doesn't it? They actually stopped here. That's kind of interesting. Very interesting there. Dave Hickey again saying, I totally agree, Joey. The thing is, we had 4 shots at it. Even though it was a long time ago, 3 of them before I really started watching football, but that doesn't stop Packer and Cowboy fans from giving me bleep about not winning any. But I agree with Malcolm. I wanted Seattle because they haven't won. They haven't won any, and they are Minnesota Northwest. Oh, boy. You guys like Seattle because they're Minnesota Northwest. Look at you. No, I understand. I'm not mad at anybody for rooting for Seattle. Denver's not that likable either. And they have Minnesota ties like that guy that used to play for the Gophers who didn't do anything in the game. You know that guy. Eric Decker, who's very good. I'm not a big Wes Welker fan, by the way. And I didn't even talk about that with Dylan either because it's just, we talked about what we talked about. But, yeah, I mean, I wasn't even really in the mood to rant about how much I don't like this guy or that guy. Because it's like the game was such a joke. It didn't even matter really how much I like this guy or that guy. You immediately kind of go into like a dormant state, which I pretty much did. I'm going to tell you guys that may listen to multiple shows that I do. Obviously, Timberwolves Explosion and all that. I recorded Timberwolves Explosion right after that game. I'm telling you, that first segment was hard as hell. I mean, it may not have sounded like it, but I was having a very, very hard time energy-wise. I was just wiped out watching that stupid game. Ugh. Oh, my. So we'll get to a couple final posts here, I think. Brent Jacobson was saying, so I see Bill Musgrave is going to be the Eagles coach. Maybe it's time to sell high on Nick Foles. I actually read that on the last show, but again, that is kind of funny. Bill Musgrave, yuck. That doesn't make sense. A wide open offense like that, and you bring in Bill Musgrave to have any part of it, other than maybe Waterboy. I'm okay. Good point, Brent. So it's a good thing I felt like I had to read that one again. Sebastian saying, what a great show, Joey, and thank you for that. Mark Carlson saying, Pro Bowl with real defense? I guess. Still am confused as to cheer for Team Sanders or not. Watching anyway, and that's a football fan right there. Yep. I mean, I don't watch the All-Star games of sports that much anymore. Sometimes baseball, because that one's a little bit more interesting, at least, a little bit. Not that baseball's like my 4th favorite sport out of the 4, but I don't know, it seems like the All-Star game in that sport's a little more interesting. Very nice video posted by possible future Minnesota Viking quarterback Derek Carr. Retroactive 2013 highlights. Highly recommend it to those of you out there. As we do get closer and closer to draft, that is the number one topic for the Minnesota Vikings now, other than free agency, which comes first going into March, which is now actually less than a month away now. It's like 3 weeks away. We're already 1 week in February. Wow, I'm just like blown away by that. Sebastian continuing with a college football player stat post about Derek Carr. Again, do check that out. Those of you out there, very worth it. I would like to see him achieve that. And Paul kind of always welcome to. And Paul, I may kind of say this and that about Seattle. I don't hate the Seahawks, and hey, keep posting on here. And I was just teasing you about moving to Seattle, and you're suddenly a 30-year veteran. I was giving you crap, so don't take it personal. I'm not. I got nothing against you, buddy. You know that. We've been friends for freaking 15 years now. So, yeah. He posted a picture of a Denver Bronco fan looking very glum. And I don't blame him. We've been there, Viking fans. Let's all remember that. And so have the Seahawks. They were there last year when they lost to Atlanta. That must have been insanely frustrating. That must have drove them nuts. Oh, I hate the Falcons. Brent Jacobson posting his wish list for the Vikings. Yes, sir. Let's see. They are cornerback Alteron Werner or Sam Shields. Choice 1, choice 2. And what I was looking at in there, I leaned towards Werner. Yeah, I lean towards Werner out of those two. Seems a little bit more going on, I suppose. Shields gets interceptions. Werner seems like the better tackler. The Vikings need a guy who can tackle, though. Werner gets interceptions, too. Both of those guys do get them. Werner was with the Tennessee Titans. Sam Shields with the Packers. The Vikings have had decent success picking up Green Bay Packers in the past, so it wouldn't kill me to get Shields either. So choice 1, choice 2, either one of them would be pretty good. He puts for safety Taylor Mays and Mike Mitchell. I guess I lean Mays slightly in this one overall. In the draft, round 1, he says trade back from 8 and stockpile picks to use on defense. All right, I mean, as long as you get the right people. Round 2, developmental quarterback like Zach Mettenberger or Aaron Murray, who could sit a year behind Castle and learn. I'm not against that. Not at all. Because unless Derek Carr really does it for you, and his stats in college were off the charts, way better than Christian Ponder's, but he did play in an easier conference than Christian Ponder in Florida State. But no, Derek Carr was a better college quarterback than Christian Ponder. Ponder was underwhelming as a quarterback in college, so why shouldn't he have been underwhelming as a quarterback in the NFL? A lot of us wonder. I was just sitting hoping and praying when the Vikings ultimately did reach on him. I was sitting hoping and praying that, hey, maybe that college thing isn't everything, and that this guy, they're really seeing something about him, that he really is legit. No. I better continue where he left off. Murray was, he says rounds 3 through 7, best player available. Yeah, best player available, sure. And if it's a running back, if you can get a solid to nice running back in the, let's say, 4th round and on, if you end up finding a guy, Terrell Davis was, a 6th, 7th round pick, so I would not be against taking a running back in one of those rounds. It wouldn't kill us, because Toby Gerhardt, I don't think we're going to keep him. I think money's going to be thrown his way, and why would you spend $1 trillion to keep a guy behind Adrian Peterson? Let him have a chance to start somewhere, and let's bring in a new one. I'm not against that at all. And Gerhardt gets hurt a lot, by the way. Final post. This one was Brent Jacobson saying Vikings bargain hunt free agents. It's on Bleacher Report. Do check that out. You're more than welcome to check that out, indeed. Those of you that are kindly listening to this show. I thought I had something going on. Yes, I have something going on the Twitter as well. As that loads, we continue to, in general, just the thoughts of David Carr or defense. It ultimately does depend on where, after the combine, what your impressions are on Derek Carr. I hope I called him Derek, not David. Does he have a chance to be a star in the NFL, or is the sky cloudy on him? If basically you're not really sure. You're just not sure. You can't take a guy you're not sure about. You have to be absolutely sure that Carr is a legitimate future starting quarterback in this league, maybe even a great starting quarterback in this league. And if there's a great defensive player available that will make this team better, you got to take him. That's the way I stand along the lines of this. There was some interaction during the Super Bowl. Most of this is just interactions. I'm going to kind of bounce around and look at stuff. I was talking about how lucky the Seattle Seahawks are, and then Viking fan page saying explain, and I just simply said that snap, because that was, I posted that right at the beginning. I was just sick of seeing Seattle get lucky, and after that, Seattle wasn't as lucky anymore. It was like they were just destroying them. Oh Lord. Nicholas Borboom on Twitter saying it's N Borboom98 saying, so much for those migraines. He was always talking about what the Vikes, meaning Percy Harvin, and I was basically saying bleep Harvin, that front runner. That's what got Nick to respond. Nick knew about Percy Harvin quite a bit because he lived in Florida for a while. Nick is another old buddy. Actually, I've known him even longer than Paul. Circa 1995, Hopkins High School era. Man, crazy. When we were not seniors yet, so we're not quite around Dylan's age or even further there. But I'm just saying. He lived in Florida for a while, so he knew about Harvin with the Gators. Moving on here, Dave Martin saying how Denver needs to wake up now, or this could be over. They have not had to deal with games like that this season, and now, when there's teams like that, they don't seem to deal well with that. Seattle's had to play in a couple of kind of tighter type of games, and they just wipe people out, though, overall. They play tight and then take over and wipe people out, and that's what Seattle did. Oh, man. Lots of in-game stuff with Dave Martin out of Scotland. Very great guy, very cool guy. He was starting to think we had the wrong Manning out there, at least. they're starting to need points here. And yes, the point of the matter is every time Denver looked like they had something going, it was another turnover. It was just stupid. Martin was telling me don't bring that up about 41 Donut because I put that on both Twitter and Facebook. Another thing, Dave was saying at least Eli turns back into Peyton. That's what we are making Freeman look good at MetLife. Whoa, he was making Freeman look good at MetLife. Wow. Oh, boy. So, mostly in-game stuff. Nick Borbum again saying the Broncos look like they're playing in slow motion or stop animated. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. What was he saying here? He was responding to... Oh, yeah, I said it looked like the Broncos are playing on depression meds. And yeah, the depression meds don't seem to be working. Oh, well, maybe off-season will help. Oh, man. And Stephen Smith, that being Stephen A. Smith, saying, beautifully disgruntled sparkle ponies coming to a 99-cent bookstore near you. Ooh, he's making fun of the Broncos again there. Oh, that's funny. So, yeah, that's good stuff, guys. Really appreciate it. The gold star is going to go to Dave Hickey. Here it is, Dave. Congratulations on yet another gold star. You've been racking them up this year in 2014. You're a candidate for gold star of the year. I'm going to try to get into that on the State of the Union address. No, State of the Vikings address. State of the Vikings 2014. Oh man, it gets tough. Silver star, man, goes to Malcolm. He had a lot of cool stuff to say. Bronze star will go to Brent Jacobson with all the detail he brought once again. He's always getting a star. It seems like on almost every episode he gets the bronze star for a lot of that cool information, interesting stuff he had to say. Really appreciate all of you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for interacting. And be ready for State of the Vikings. Yeah, let's try not to keep that one too long, but do call in if you'd like. I encourage you to call in, but again, try to keep it to under a minute on this one, and probably from here on. I understand you have a lot to say, but try to keep it to the point. Try to keep it sharp. Don't let that scare you away from calling. Just try to be fairly sharp about it. Don't let it go too long. Just for the sake of the show, you want to keep the listeners listening. You don't want them to be like, okay. You know, that's the problem. That's the problem with radio. People are impatient. You have to remember that. I'm not impatient, but other people are at times. With me, as long as you stay on topic, I'm happy. But I'm just letting you know. Just for the sake of the show. You want the show to succeed, don't you? So, also, another way to help the show succeed, do give Pro Mafia a positive rating on iTunes and give a brief review about it. You don't have to say all that much. You could even just say thanks again for the show, something like that. You don't have to have a degree to rate someone on iTunes. You know, it's just a simple, fun little thing. So do appreciate it. And for those of you that do have a degree, good for you. I'm just saying, it doesn't matter either way. Just thank you for your support in advance, and you will get a shout out on air, and very likely get a star out of the 3 that I give out every show as well. Thanks again for listening. We'll be back in a couple weeks, and you will hear the voice of Sebastian Dawes on the air with myself. And I do apologize personally to Sebastian that it took so long to get you on air. My schedule sucks and all that good stuff. So I do manage to get the shows out, but obviously recording late usually, so not everybody. I mean, I don't necessarily have the energy sometimes to do that. So, but I did it tonight. Thank you again for listening, and we will be back sooner rather than later.